tells Israel, wait, there's still time. And I say, wait for what? Wait until when?
The world needs American strength, not apologies.
A big development on the campaign trail as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu finds himself the star of a new political ad discussing Iran. Now, it is airing in the key swing state of Florida. The ad does not mention either presidential candidate by name. It is created by the nonprofit advocacy group called Secure America Now, which does not have to disclose its donors. The full ad buy is reported to cost $1 million. So what is this about? And what does it mean for the White House race, if anything? Bernard Whitman is a Democratic pollster and author of 52 Reasons to Vote for President Obama. And Mark Thiessen is a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute and a former speechwriter for President George W. Bush. And we're going to get to another topic today because something that we've been talking about with Mark for more than a week now, a couple of weeks, there's been a major development with the president and his daily intelligence briefs. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I want to start with this ad. It's no accident, Bernard, that this is airing in Florida, where the Jewish vote is significant, and not just the Jewish vote, but the sort of pro-Israel vote. And so clearly it seems aimed at those voters, but does it help one side or the other?
Well, it's certainly meant to try to help Mitt Romney, but in fact, it's a desperate and I think quite inappropriate attempt to scare people and distort the president's record. I mean, the fact is, Megyn, that Barack Obama right now is killing Mitt Romney among Jews. Nationally, he's at 70 to 25%. It's virtually the exact same number that he was 4 years ago at this time and about the percentage that he won. So I think it's also misleading because Benjamin Netanyahu earlier this week made it very clear that, in fact, he stood with President Obama. And when asked if he agreed with Mitt Romney's assertion that America is throwing Israel into the bus, Netanyahu pointedly replied, there is no bus. And the reason for that is the president has made it very clear that he stands by Israel, will support Israel, will defend Israel at all costs, and in fact believes in the only solution that is appropriate here, and that's a two-state solution, something which Mitt Romney clearly does not believe in and doesn't respect the Palestinians to even start to be an honest broker there.
Mark, why are you laughing?
Because it's laughable. I mean, look, this is the president who has shown two things. One, he has no intention of doing anything about stopping Iran's drive for a nuclear weapon. And two, he has nothing but complete disdain for Israel and its leaders. I mean, this is the president who blindsided Israeli leaders last year by announcing that any deal has to be based on the 1967 lines without warning Israeli leaders over the objections of his senior advisors, and in a speech that was specifically timed to preempt Prime Minister Netanyahu's speech to Congress. This is a president who was caught trash-talking Netanyahu with the president of France at the G8 summit in Cannes, saying when he was talking about him with Sarkozy, said, "You can't stand him. I have to deal with him every day." He was caught on camera on camera saying that. This is a president who doesn't have time to meet with Netanyahu when he asks for an emergency meeting, but does have time to go on David Letterman and party with Jay-Z and Beyonce in New York. And the fact is, on his watch, Iran has made more progress toward a nuclear weapon in the last 3.5 years than they have made in the 3 decades since the Iranian Revolution. They have more centrifuges spinning. They have more high-enriched uranium. They have more hardened nuclear facilities. And this is an existential threat to Israel, and he has utterly failed to stop that drive towards a nuclear weapon. And Israeli Jewish voters are starting to understand what a Palestinian leader told the Washington Post. Obama has a total lack of a emotion-based relationship with Israel. He doesn't have Israel's back, and it's a perfectly legitimate ad to put up on the air.
Go ahead, Bernard.
Mark, I got to disagree. The fact is that this president has done actually more to try to thwart Iran's march towards nuclear weapons than any president in history, including George W. Bush. George W. Bush did not put on sanctions on Iran's oil reserves and oil sales. This president has done more to try to thwart that than any president in history, and I think that Israel understands that, and I think the American Israeli population does. Look, I'm a Jew. I visit Israel. I believe in a two-state solution. And I also believe that trying to inject a foreign leader into an American political campaign is inappropriate. It's wrong. I think Benjamin Netanyahu would not be amused that he is being used as some sort of a toy by Romney based on past friendship.
That's not fair to say that it's by Romney.
Together in
That's ridiculous.
It's not fair to say that it's by Romney because we don't know who's behind the ad.
He asked the president to draw a red line. He asked the president to draw a red line. and the president has refused to do it. And he had a screaming match apparently with the American ambassador over these differences. So all the happy talk that you cite about how everything's getting along and Obama has Israel's back, Netanyahu doesn't believe that.
But let me jump in. Let me jump in and ask you this,
and
Mark. Let me ask you this, Mark. Then if that is the case, Bernard accurately states the numbers in terms of President Obama's support among Jewish voters.